You're listening to the We Are Libertarians Network. Learn more at wearelibertarians.com.
Welcome to the Boss Hog of Liberty podcast. This is episode number 156 of East Centralia's favorite podcast. I'm Jeremiah Morrell. Today I'm joined by co-host Chase Peyton, producer Chris Guffey, who's not doing a darn thing, and my forever co-host Dakota Davis.
Today's episode features the four of us just talking about life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Now, we will be talking about the Trump stimulus package, the CARES Act that passed, and then we will also be talking about the Tiger King, Mr. Joe Exotic, and, of course, just how horrible our lives have been since the coronavirus took over. So lots of interesting things we're talking about today. Make sure you stick around until the very end.
This show is about our lives in rural Indiana. We're here to push your boundaries and make you think as individuals. Sometimes we'll provoke you, other times we'll make you laugh, but hopefully you'll always learn something new. We are broadcasting for the very first time separately, remotely. This coronavirus has affected the Boss Hog Empire. Our boy baby Dakota Davis has the newborn baby at home, so in absolute safety, even though we are technically allowed as members of the media to broadcast from the studio, we're going at it separate. So we are trying to do this through Zoom, and I'm working from the original Boss Hog. I think episodes 3, 4, 5, and 6 might have been recorded up here in my office back in the day before cameras. Dakota is at the Spiceland Ranch. Producer Chris is, I guess you're monitoring levels from a parking lot somewhere, socially distancing.
I am very social distancing right now. Nobody can touch me.
And Chase is reporting live from Chicago with sports. Is that right?
Oh, yeah. Hey, where's the girl filter at? I'm trying to find it.
I thought we agreed there were going to be no filters.
Chase wasn't in there when we decided that.
We voted Chase. There will be no filters. Dakota, we got some thank yous.
That's right. We need to.
I'll just slide the document over to you there on that side of the screen, and you can read it. You can see I've taken it. If you're watching on Facebook, I've taken the document and I'm holding it in front of Dakota so he can read it now.
Yes, we need to thank the folks that support us on Patreon like we do every week. Those folks are the people who make this show happen, make it possible. We still have to pay rent on a studio, even if we're not in the studio right now.
I have a story about that in a second.
And there's still an electric bill there, but, the coronavirus, silver linings here, the electric bill is probably going to be pretty cheap this month. But you can sign up at any tier. The tiers start at $5 a month. And if you sign up at $50 or more a month, we give you a shout out at the start of every episode. Those folks are Craig DaCosta, Chris Lamb, Christy Avery, and our favorite car dealer, Jonathan Phillips.
We did record a Patreon episode. Dakota got called out for the day job trying to keep the lights on for somebody out there. I assume that a squirrel got the virus and climbed into a box it shouldn't have been in, and Dakota had to go bury the cremains.
It makes the squirrels suicidal.
We've discovered that in Henry County now. So I did go visit the studio about 2.5, 3 hours ago because we did a practice yesterday, and I was using a cell phone, and I'm so vain that I didn't like the angle that the phone was getting, and I wasn't going to duct tape it onto a monitor. So I remembered I had a Logitech webcam, but the webcam had crappy audio, and I have this microphone that I had purchased years ago. And if you remember to the very early start of the podcast, we had 3 matching mics and then a weird plastic mic stand. And today I went back to the studio trying to find the plastic mic stand. Secret time, I couldn't find it, but if you watch the camera, I have duct taped onto the other microstand there's a little popcorn tape duct tape job on there, and that's what's holding this in place so that I can do what I can. Dakota is gone with his gaming microphone, which is impressive, but I don't know. Is it USB? The technology is beyond me because I don't think I could plug mine in and get it.
No, I have
audio and
I have a headphone microphone jack on a headset jack on my laptop. So
isn't that fancy? Mine's
Whenever we did
split.
the
I have
test-
both kinds.
when we did the test, I was using my Galaxy Buds, the wireless headphones for a Samsung phone, and it just wasn't working with those, and I had to call in to Zoom using my cell phone, and it was very weird. So I was hoping that this would work, and it seems to be doing the job anyway.
It's adequate. You're you need a better mic screen, better flag than you have, but it's we're used to these big.
This isn't even the screen. This isn't the mic that came with the headphones. I lost that like a year ago.
I have one of these, but I need somebody that does small electronics repair to fix my dangly end, because this is my my Turtle Beach Xbox deal. But as you can see in the camera, I've broken my dongle, and now it's all twisted off, and it hangs to the left. So I need a replacement.
This is
I got a
notification
on my watch, and I legit was looking for my phone for like 5 seconds.
So during quarantine, Chase has taken up the role of being the stoner of the group. I do have to admit that I've had similar problems looking for my glasses before, just to figure out that they're on my head. So it does happen. Yeah. I'm also borrowing. Sarah, my lovely bride, is in the chat. Apparently, she's stopped baking downstairs now, and has noticed that I'm wearing her Bluetooth headphones because I only had so much distance that I could go from the computer earlier. If we're still remote next week, which we probably will be, I think I'm going to go back to the studio and drag some of this back down there, and maybe I'll have a little better permanent setup. But for now, this is working. We're on the air, and that's what's important.
That's true. Also, we forgot to mention we still have our T-chip stores. Those are still up if you are an essential worker, or if you want to spend your Trump bucks on on a T-shirt or a sweatshirt. That would be great. We're getting out of sweatshirt weather, but if maybe you're trying to lose a little bit of weight, and you have a goal set in mind for fall.
You got a wrestling group you need to get into. You got to make weight for wrestling.
Well, maybe you just have that goal. So you're like, you know what? By the time fall comes around, I'm going to fit into this large sweatshirt. So right now would be the perfect time to buy a large sweatshirt.
No, you won't. I've done that several times.
Chase did it with the tuxedo that he rented for my wedding.
I've never seen thighs shoved so tightly into something in my life as I did with Chase's pants at Dakota's wedding.
They were summer sausage rolls.
At any moment, there could have been an explosion, and there were a number.
And I got down that night, and my pants didn't rip somehow.
That's just because it was a good suit.
So yes, it was the best rental you could get. All right, so. Last week there was a bill that came through Congress, and I guess you would call it stimulus number 3 for the coronavirus, and about $350 billion. The terminology is going to be tough here for me because we're talking in such big numbers. But $350 billion is going to get paid out to citizens of the country. A number of members of Congress have contracted the coronavirus. I know Rand Paul had, and some other senators that were in quarantine. So they didn't even have a majority of Republicans. They needed Democrats there to be involved. So they were, and then on the House side, they were trying to pass this bill without actually having members show up in present to cast votes. So all of that's happening as a team of negotiators were in place, and what turned into started at a plan that Mitt Romney had pushed forward as $1,000 or $1,200 payment to citizens, which, by the way, he had stolen or borrowed from Andrew Yang Gang. $1,200 payment 2 times, once in April and once in May, or once in May and once in April, turned into a $350 billion payment to citizens in a $2 trillion bill, and it's only going to pay out one time. So that's What do you think, Dakota? Is that what you thought was going to happen when we were previewing this a couple weeks ago? There was the talk of the $1,000 coming. Now we're somewhere else.
I had a pretty good feeling we would get something, but I actually thought that we would be getting more. Not to be greedy, I just thought that with the Democrats wanting to give significantly more money per couple than what the Republicans' plan had, I figured that that would be a point of compromise between the two parties. So I didn't see the Democrats conceding, but I mean, that's whatever. I did read another article today that said that if you don't have your refund checks for just like every other year set up on direct deposit, then it could be up to 5 months before you receive a paper check in the mail.
That's the same thing that happens.
Same thing in 2001 and 2008 when the stimulus went out. So
if you get a refund and you don't get it electronically, that's the same way you've been getting your refund the whole time. That makes for really good clicks right now in the media, but it's literally the same treatment you've always had.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, and if you're a Patreon members, get a copy of the show notes. Usually, I don't even know if we put those in there today, but there's a link in here where we got all of our information from in the show notes from smartasset.com, and they have a super detailed, very well put down on paper description of each item inside the bill, and it's you keep hearing the word comprehensive tossed around, but until you kind of see it laid out like that, then you don't really realize how many areas of regular life this bill touches. It's everywhere. With everything that has to do with money, this bill is going to be in it, or it's going to have something to do with it, and it's all in the name of relief. Things that are supposed to help you if you don't have a job right now, if you're a furloughed worker, everything. I mean, it's pretty intense. It was a lot more intense than I thought.
If you have a small business, it's essentially going to pay you to keep your people on payroll. You're going to get a interest-free. Well, you pay interest, but it's a completely forgiven loan. So you can basically make your payroll for the next few months as long as you spend, I think it was $250,000 in payroll expense. They're just going to straight up give you that money and you'll pay interest on it, but you'll never have to pay, you don't have to give anything back. So you can either be making investments in your business in the short term, or you can just simply be making your payroll. And it's just a gift essentially. So say you were going to spend $500,000 on payroll anyway, just simply for taking out the loan, you're going to pay interest on maybe 4% of that. But the rest of it, you just stick in your pocket as a company, as long as you still exist in a year. So, I mean, it's a sweet deal. Everybody's going to want it if they can get it, right? That's the
right.
Yeah,
yeah. My bosses came out with an email here just yesterday, I think, and it basically explained everything that we get. Like, if you meet certain like standards, you get 80 hours of paid 100% time, and then there's another standard for 2/3 pay for 80 hours, and then if you have kids and you're out of school, so Governor Holcomb just came out and said school's canceled for the rest of the academic year, up to 12 weeks, you can get 2/3 of your pay. So, and then the company just gets it back at the end of the year with a tax credit.
Yeah, so you get that as an employer. But if you are not an employer and you are a worker that maybe you were a waitress or a bartender and right now you're laid off, unemployment benefits have been extended. You can get it for a much longer period of time. They're going to make it easier for you to get access to your unemployment benefits.
They did away with the 1 week wait time.
Yeah, and usually that 1 week wait time is, just speaking from experience, it's about a 2 week wait time realistically, and that is if you're on the ball and going for it. And that's as a laid off worker, not fired or quit or anything. It's not a very fast process. There's a lot of bureaucracy that happens with the Work One offices.
Unemployment is going to be available, but the problem is going to be your unemployment rates, like the insurance rates are going to go up, right? So everybody's going to claim it. So everybody's going to have their costs go up next year as well.
Yeah.
That's not a great solution when the government's, none of this is great, right? Now we're in triage mode with every bit of it, just hoping to survive and get by.
Yeah, it's just real weird. It's not like 2008, and it's not like 2001, whenever we just had an economic collapse. Because we have an economic collapse, and now
we have an economic collapse caused because we've told businesses they have to be closed, right?
Right. Yeah. So an economic collapse that was caused by government forcing a business's hand to shut their doors. We also have we've all seen the memes flying around about landlords that are still asking tenants to pay their rent even if they are furloughed workers because of this virus. There's rent and mortgage relief that's going around. So if you're a laid off worker and you ask your landlord for an extension and they say that they still have to pay the mortgage on the house, that's not necessarily true. They can get mortgage relief as well.
I don't know the details on that, but possibly. I mean, it depends upon if it's if it's an FHA mortgage,
so
the only you have, or if it's a guy that has 15 rental properties and all of a sudden all of his people stop paying or are late, and now he's triggered to be late. I don't know that he's right. I'm not sure how that plan's going to work, but it's not good. You've got a whole lot of people that were swimming naked, right? That don't have the cash flow to get by for any interruption at all.
Right. And that's yeah. So that's a really strange situation. Just altogether with the landlords, tenants, that relationship is really strange. I know that I was talking to a friend who works for a small business in Newcastle, and they were forced to shut down. And this individual was the main source of income for their family, and he contacted their landlord and was told that they still had to pay rent because they still had a mortgage to pay. And it's that's just a tough situation to be in. It's easy to look at it if you're standing on the outside, or if you're the tenant and go that the landlord is just being a jerk. But at the same time,
that building's not free. They only exist because the building only exists because it's generating revenue, right?
Yeah, you don't know that landlord situation, because I think that most of the time, whenever you think of a landlord, you think of someone who is living high on the hog and has got a ton of residential and also commercial properties that they are renting out, and at least that's where my mind immediately goes to. But that's not necessarily the case all the time. There's a lot of folks out here that have got, one or two rentals that are just that's a little bit of side income. So they might be just as impacted by this with their job, their primary
Dakota, it's entirely plausible that, if you were 5 years older when you got married, Audrey owned a house and you owned a house and you didn't sell one. So you guys moved into your house and then you rented out the house Audrey was in. And your household, you got a little kid at home. You're a single income household now. If you were expected to pay 2 mortgages right now, I mean, you're going to depend upon the rental income from that other house.
Right, absolutely.
So it doesn't make you expecting your tenants to be able to pay rent. Now, whether or not it's going to happen or not isn't, that's a side point. But expecting them to be able to pay rent on time, that's important because you have to take those same funds and turn them into the bank to pay for the properties yourself.
It's a shitty time for everybody. So it's kind of hard to be mad at the landlords that are asking for the money because they probably need it, like you were saying. I have a question. How much Trump money am I getting, and when will it get here?
All right, let's work through this. Let's work through this formula, Chase. Were you an adult last year? Yes or no?
Technically.
Did you make over or under $75,000 last year? Not this year, last year.
I'm gonna go under
because you did have like 4 jobs last year, Chase. You may want to add up your W-2s.
That's true. I should look at it again. We're going to go for this scenario.
And it doesn't matter if all that went to paying student loans.
How many children did you claim last year, Chase, on your taxes?
I don't have any children that I know of.
Okay, so you didn't claim any children on your taxes.
No.
The answer is that you will receive $1,200 in Trump bucks. They're like Schrute bucks, but worth a little bit less.
That's not necessarily true, though, Jeremiah.
They're worth more than Stanley nickels.
Well, what I'm saying is he may not get the $1,200. You forgot to ask a very important question. Chase, did your mother or father claim you on their taxes?
No, they did not.
I said an adult.
Also,
but
Chase,
we established that when he was an adult.
Chase,
An adult, yeah, but you can still be a dependent of another person.
Are you an immigrant
like our
that is
Mason.
living inside of the United States legally but has not gained full citizenship yet?
I'm an American.
Okay.
He's broadcasting from a Chicago studio.
The reason I bring that up is because that's a big point of contention. Is the fact that you can be an immigrant in the United States, you can be a tax-paying immigrant, but not be a full citizen yet, and you will not get any of this stimulus package. And to me, I feel if you are a taxpayer, and then you should be entitled to the same amount of money that every other taxpayer is receiving. Especially because if you're a tax-paying immigrant, then you are living in the United States legally, you're working in the United States legally, and you're not doing anything wrong. But
I hope y'all hear my dog bark.
I do. Now there's a very good chance that you might be that you might not get the same treatment as other American workers. Doesn't seem right to me at all.
All right, I'm going to try to do the math here from the show notes and see what number I come up to here because Dakota has broken out the numbers here. We got $500 billion, so a quarter of the bill went to corporations for corporate bailouts. He says $349 billion. I knew I was going to mix up the terminology. $349 billion is those small business loans for making payroll. And then we're going to do $150 billion for public health, which is PPE and respirators, yada, yada, yada. And then $300 billion for taxpayers. That gives me the price tag of $1.3 trillion. But Dakota, you said it's a $2 trillion bill, so I assume the other $700 billion is just for theft?
It goes
theft and waste?
There's a whole lot of miscellaneous areas that get broken down into a lot of different areas. And honestly, I just put the big chunks. So you could say $700 billion miscellaneous.
It's greasing the skids to get those votes done.
Well, there's a reason that there were 600 pages added to the bill. So the Republicans submit a 600-page bill, and the agreed upon final bill, the CARES Act that was signed into law, was just over 1,200 pages long. So it was it's a lot of things that got added at the last moment, and that's why. That is why it did go. It was at $1.2 trillion, the Republicans' plan, and now it's at $2 trillion. After compromise.
I'm about to get $1,200.
Yes.
Yeah,
tax
I would
free.
say. Well, don't you have to claim it on your taxes?
It's free money. It's your money.
Okay.
It is a tax credit for the new year. So you'll file your taxes next January, February, March, April, whatever. You're going to file your taxes, and this is a tax credit next year that's being paid in advance. So it's just straight up free money.
I've learned it's about $2,000 to buy a baby tiger. Does anyone want to pitch in $800?
Hold on.
We could go on.
You and Katie combined will get $2,400. We can all buy our own individual tiger, like couple wise.
Awesome. I don't know.
We can start a fight club.
Here's my problem, Chase. I know that it costs between $3,000 and $15,000 a year to feed a tiger, and if you want to get in on that $3,000 level, we either need to get in with our boy Cade Koger and get any of his dead cows and start quartering them up, or we got to go down to the Walmart, and there's only so much meat they throw out of our Walmart down here. So somebody's going to have to venture up to Muncie.
They're probably not throwing out any right now, too.
It's true. The Tigers may be starving to death because everything's been getting bought.
Yeah,
we're going to have to start hunting. I think that's the only answer.
Say that one more time, Chase.
Take it.
We're going to have to start illegally hunting. That's the only answer. And I'm only good for about one deer every few years.
You're good with one. You're good with one deer with a weapon and one deer with a Ford. Is my count basically. That's usually the way you tag them.
It's the best way to do it.
Well, Dakota and I went squirrel hunting once, and it didn't work out. We got cold and saw no squirrels. We did scare the hell out of an archer, a deer archer once, but that was it.
That deer hunter was not very pleased with us. One thing that I wanted to mention,
especially when you fired the warning shot in to see if he was real.
Yeah, is that a real guy?
Turns out he was.
See,
Dick Cheney over there.
Sorry, sir.
Maybe you shouldn't be dressed like the Woods, just sitting there.
What kind of a boss man do you have to be to shoot a guy in the head and then that man apologize to you for being that way? That is the kind of person I aspire to be.
Well, I look forward to all of you apologizing to me at some point when I take you hunting.
So one thing I wanted to mention real quick about this, about the CARES Act too, is that there was a lot of talk going on. Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi, one of the big things that they were disappointed about with the Republicans' proposal is that they said that there wasn't enough oversight on how the corporate bailout money could be spent. The compromise, the solution to that was to install a separate inspector general. That would be.
I hear a phone ringing, and I expect us to be professionals.
That is mine. Uh-oh.
we all know what's happening there.
He's getting called out again.
Yeah. So I'm assuming what he was going to talk about is that the Democrats wanted a separate inspector general to oversight, as just, obviously to oversight. That way the corporations and all the other bailouts that we're just giving to for free can't just go out and run about like we did the banks.
If we had just simply gone with the original plan that everybody supported, we're going to give you $1,200 once a month or $1,000 once a month, and just said the hell with the businesses and expected people to spend the money on the things they normally spend the money on, would have been okay. Instead, you've created this bureaucracy.
Yeah. Well, so all right, let's talk about it. So I'm getting $1,200. Jeremiah, you're going to get 12. You'll get 24 because of Sarah.
My household gets $2,400.
Yes, and then Chase gets 12. So what are we going to spend our beautiful tax dollars on that we're getting back? Jer, let's start with you. What are you going?
I honestly, what I think is going to happen, as long as there are no interruptions, we'll probably hold on to the money for a little while, just for safety. But as long as there are no interruptions to the income stream, and both myself and the lovely Sarah Potter Morrell stay employed, probably going to put it on her student loans. That's most likely
straight back to the government for you.
So it's going to go straight back towards paying down debt and getting rid of that. So $2,400, $2,500 is probably going to be stroke of a couple of keys, and it's going to go right on in.
Chase, what about you?
I'm going to hold on to the $1,200 just in case if I get a little desperate. And then sports is going to start back up, and I'm going to gamble it all away.
There are sports,
like
Chase. There are sports, Chase. Did you not see the iRacing, NASCAR, and IndyCar that's been going, and the Madden leagues that have been broadcasting on ESPN?
Chase, listen. I was at the Potters last night, where I seem to be almost every night when I'm not with a girlfriend. Kevin and I have found a way that horse racing is still going on, and you can still bet horse racing.
Yeah, but Jared knows I
Yeah.
am terrible.
I am too. I lost $10 like it was nothing.
So Chase and I went to the horse track last fall at the Anderson, the very last. It turns out it was the last horse race of our lifetimes in Indiana, but it was the last night of horse racing at Indiana Downs. What did they call that place?
Downs, yeah.
And we lost our asses. We started as ballers. We were putting like $20 on a single horse to win, like we were made of money.
Y'all are crazy.
Any horse with a name like Big Long Dong or something like that, we put 20 on it.
Yeah. Anything that sounded funny, basically, was what we put money on. We didn't know so much.
No, I'll probably use the 1200 to get new truck tires.
Oh yeah. That's a smart decision.
The important thing, Chase, is going to be to spend that on an American tire. Don't you go getting some Chinese tires because they cause this problem.
That's true. China.
Oh man.
I do enjoy that Dakota is having his conversation off mic in the house, but we can hear it. So he's broadcasting. I think I can. I'm going to be professional. I'm going to be professional and hit the mute button so that he doesn't give away some trade secrets over there.
Pretty sure he said the R word.
So what are you going to do, Guffey?
Well, obviously I'm going to be like you guys. I am what they consider an essential personnel. I have 2 pieces of paper as documentation in case the popo ever pull me over. So I'm going to put it in the bank, and then Paige and I are talking about once all this goes away, we're going to take a vacation. Really probably going to go down to Florida. She has a cousin down there we want to see. And then also I want to go to Harry Potter World and the new Star Wars park.
Do they do weddings? Do they do weddings at the Harry Potter, or how does
I'm sure they would. I'm sure they would. Chase,
you didn't say no, Chase.
You can bring Katie.
I hear the cruise ships are very popular right now.
Dirt cheap right now, I hear. But I will never step foot on a cruise. Never.
I have friends who won't fly. I have friends who won't get on cruise ships, and I have no problem with either of them. They're great. They're very fun, very safe.
But I'm going to use the $1,200 basically like Daddy Trump wants me to, and I'm going to put it back into the economy.
I'm going to unmute co-host Dakota because he was talking off mic. And okay, so we heard your whole conversation, Dakota. Are you ready to tell us what you said?
That was
Yeah. It's all right.
All right, Dakota. So where we're at right now is we've all discussed what we're going to do with our Daddy Trump money once we get it. Now, your household, have you filed your 2019 taxes yet?
Yeah, I already got my refund for that too. So
I was going to say, did you get to claim little baby?
no.
No, it won't be until next year's taxes.
You lost the $500.
Jackson was
now
born
you're
in
24.
2020, not 2019.
Yeah, I won't get the $500 for having a child, even though I have a child.
Now, I will say
$2,400.
we were going over this a minute ago. Let's just pause for just 1 second. If you have a household income, if it's married a group of 2, and your household income's 150 or below, you're okay. So you could have a dude making, or a lady making $100,000, and the other individual in the partnership making 40, and you'll still get the full $2,400.
Right.
So you just can't cross that 150.
Correct. Yeah, the threshold is different for filing jointly. So, yeah.
So what are you going to spend this money on?
Well, I've had my eyes on a. Where did Chris go?
He's lost. We've lost him. He probably needed to plug his phone in the truck.
I've had my.
He was driving and podcasting at the same time.
My plan for this is there's a baby coming out here. This whole situation has made me realize how dependent we are on grocery stores. So I'm going to I plan on spending my Trump bucks on building a greenhouse and starting and having some tilapia fish.
So we talked about, look at that, Baby Jackson's first podcast.
Oh my goodness.
I just can't believe he's not in the onesie that Mason got him for Christmas.
Yeah, that would have been better for his first episode.
God, Audrey, go back and find it.
Yeah. Jeremiah's saying that he needed to be in Mason's onesie.
Go change him into it.
She said
anything
no.
for content.
That was
Audrey, come on.
That was
Don't
a
be
hard
like that.
no.
Don't be like that. All right. So.
You want to do another baby?
This is like we've had Tiger King talk, but this is like Lion King talk here with the baby.
There's two babies.
That is not social distancing.
We're all within 6 feet right now.
Something like that.
Inside your household.
But yeah, that's
Oh, you're yelling at him.
that's my plan for the Trump bucks. Is that I want to build a greenhouse and I want to start an aquaponics system to farm fish.
You can accomplish that on $2,400.
Oh,
What
easy.
kind of
Yeah.
Tilapia.
Tilapia.
What about salmon?
You
You could do salmon. It's just they're a little bit harder to farm. Tilapia
more
is a hardy
space.
fish.
Need a little bit more space. All right. So let's transition into the fun part of the show here. Let's talk Tiger King. Are we all completely through this thing? Have you watched all 7 episodes?
Yep.
I
We're
finished last-
I have episode 7 left to watch. The girlfriend is currently self-quarantining because she has a heart condition, so she doesn't want to be out with it. And we are watching it together, so I've got 2 weeks to watch one episode.
Guffey, you gotta see-
Dude, it's crazy. I'm so excited to finish it, but
it's
No, dude,
Chase,
this is what you do. I'm a pro at this, okay? So if you watch it at your place or if you watch it at her place, if she's coming over, right? You know how you're watching it on Netflix. It shows the episodes you've watched, right? You gotta start it over before she gets there. That way, it looks like it's been unwatched.
here's the thing. We watch it on 2 different... So we watch it off of hers. So I could just watch it on Jeremiah's. And she would never know.
There you go.
all right. So this is spoiler alert time. So if you don't want to listen to the book club on Tiger King here, you probably want to duck out here for a minute or two. Chase, did you see the throuple coming?
I was a fan.
Did you even know such a life could exist? You could have that much happiness.
I thought you only got that much happiness at Disney World. I didn't know that was possible.
He's getting it all
Oh
over.
God. I will say in defense of libertarians everywhere, Joe Exotic did not win the nomination of the Libertarian Party of the state of Oklahoma. He did not get 19% of the vote. He got 19% in one race in the primary.
They did not do a good enough job of clarifying that in the show.
Oh, he should have.
Oh, poor
It's like all libertarians are scrambling right now. We're like, we're not with Joe Exotic.
You know, I've had a lot of people note that there's 2 kinds of libertarians in the world. There's the dude that was the campaign manager, and then there's Joe Exotic, and I'm more of the campaign manager style, obviously.
Yeah, what do you think of the campaign manager?
He did us all a solid favor when he said, "Yeah, I don't think Joe knows what a libertarian means." So I think he got the LP off the hook.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh.
Joe Exotic and 350 million other Americans. Hey, we're all thinking it. I'm saying it. Just the way this boat goes.
I think you was set up.
So my question, I was late watching the show. I didn't watch it whenever it first came out and whenever the hype first started. So I put a question in the show notes of what made everyone decide to finally sit down and watch this show.
The memes. It's always the memes. The memes are always the answer.
What about you, Chris?
Yeah. So for me, it was a mixture of the memes. And
Fix your mic,
always,
Chris. You're all twisted up and you sound terrible.
Do I sound better?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Okay.
No.
Well, I don't know. Dang, I'm sorry.
Just say what you have to say.
Anyway, so
That's
it was the memes, and I was at Paige's parents, and we were sitting there, and I was like, "Have you guys heard of this Tiger King?" And next thing I know, we binge watched 3 episodes. So
yeah, nothing
you
like
just can't stop it.
No, you can't.
No.
But what about you, Chase?
So I didn't want to watch it. And then I kept hearing from everybody, "Oh, this is the best show ever. You got to watch it. It's insane." And I watched it. It was pretty good. I think Joe screwed over.
Can we all admit, who here has went on YouTube and watched Dear Kitty Kitty? Anybody? Yeah. I don't care what anybody says. That song is actually pretty decent.
I've not gone to YouTube. Country. I've not gone to YouTube to listen to it, but I did get in Mason's truck last week, and it was legitimately playing on through the Bluetooth.
Yeah, man.
Where we can Joe Exotic, among the greatest country singers of all time.
It's not even him singing.
We don't care, Dakota.
He hired a country music band to play these songs, and he promised them that they were going to be on a TV show. So they agreed to play the songs for the publicity, and now they're upset at Joe Exotic because they haven't he hasn't given them credit. There's a whole big piece of that.
I saw something before we got on. I don't know if it was just a joke, but I heard he got the coronavirus in prison.
He does.
Yeah, that was from
that's been reported.
Yeah. But Joe, nothing's gonna kill Joe Exotic. Just get that out of the way now.
Listen, man, I didn't think anything was going to kill. Nothing was going to kill Joe Diffie, and then that's not
Joe
good.
Diffie has not been waist deep in 2 male lovers and exotic animal feces.
2 straight male lovers. You have to get that right.
Yeah.
As in his defense, in Oklahoma, he doesn't have a lot of options. So that was they did say that.
Yeah. That's why you have to go with the meth heads. So for me, the reason we finally sat down and watched the show is because I was resisting it. I didn't want to watch it. Audrey thought it was going to be as stupid as I thought. I thought it was like a homemade documentary. I thought it was this just going to be a dumb guy filming himself, and it was going to be foolish. And then I heard Bert Kreischer talking about it and saying that it was the funniest show that he'd seen his entire life. So I was like, all right, I'll give it a shot. And then we literally sat down and watched 4 episodes in a row.
We watched 3 episodes one night and 4 the next, and we knocked it out last week. But just imagine this. If they didn't have the Gator Barn arson, they could have had a 40-hour documentary, not a 7-hour documentary.
Oh, yeah.
Because they said he recorded everything, and then we get – they're like, oh, we lost all the footage. But you had all of this. All of this other junk was there.
It was the producer. I think it was the producers working with Carol Baskin.
No way.
Oh, yeah. Joe burned it down himself. For some reason, they have the audio of him talking to the attorney. He said, what I'm saying is that nobody has another copy of that stuff.
Nope. I'm sticking with the producer. You got tired of Joe shit.
Guppy, unplug your mic and plug it back in.
Why would the producer of the show burn down all of the footage, all his millions of dollars? Why would that makes 0 sense?
He was crazy. Nobody on that show was sane.
Oh, it sounds so much better now.
But I didn't unplug it.
He's crazy, but Joe's not crazy.
They're all crazy. The weirdest part about it is the most normal person on there is the drug dealer from Miami that burned the ATF guy that collects tigers. Most normal person on that entire show.
I don't know.
I don't think
The one armed lady
No.
who came back to work after a week seemed to be pretty dedicated to those tigers.
She's dedicated. That's
Not-
weird.
Not
5
normal.
days. That's not normal.
I think the pretty normal
I think
person.
the guy with double legs was my favorite.
I think the most normal person is Carol's dead husband.
Are you sure?
You just want his millions, Dakota.
I'm on Carol's side because she's rich and might send me money.
You guys remember the story of how they met?
Of
No.
how who met? Oh yeah, yeah. How Carol and her first husband met as he's driving down the road.
Oh yeah, and he had her point a gun at him, and she's
Yeah.
like, "Yeah."
I just need someone to talk to.
So
Here's
she
this
was-
gun just pointing at me.
The woman was fine with holding a gun on her future husband, pointing a gun at him. Knows how to have a tiger eat a person. by
I'm just
covering-
saying, you got to put a little sardine oil on him.
That's never how you'd get rid of the body.
But somehow
That might be my favorite meme now. Is that O.J. Simpson had the one saying that he thinks she did it, and then there's the that cuts back to the insurance guy who says, "This guy's seen a thing or two, and he knows a thing or two."
I think that in the investigation, Robert Kardashian was pulling strings for Carol Baskin in the background, just like he did for OJ. So, do you guys think that he was set up? Do you think that he really did pay that crackhead $3,000 to kill Carol Baskin?
Honestly, it could go either way, man. I mean, even if he was set up, seems like a terrible person. But they had me buying it at the end that he was set up.
Really?
I think it's plausible.
He was set up by he was definitely given the opportunity to make some mistakes in front of the feds.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they set a trap and he climbed into it, but I think he did that, and I think he got convicted by a jury. So, I mean, listen, there's not a whole lot. This is kind of like Mad Men, where there's not a whole lot of folks with redeeming qualities.
I don't know. John Hamm is. Have you seen his pants, Jer?
I said redeeming qualities. I know you and tight pants, Chase, are a whole thing, and I know the throuple was your deal earlier. But and listen, if I had to get three-way gay married, Chase, it'd be with you, and I'd let you pick the pink shirts. I get it, but I don't think anybody had any redeeming qualities.
I don't know. I liked Joe. I like Joe.
I did like. Joe was the only one that I liked, but he was still a terrible person. And I don't think I've ever seen a show where I've disliked 99% of the people in it, but still enjoyed the show.
I don't think Joe was that bad of a guy. I think he was just eccentric.
I think he was really, really, really worried about that bitch Carol Baskin down in Florida, and he couldn't keep his eye on the prize.
Hey, great. He was like a gay hillbilly Alex Jones.
I will say that I was a little uncomfortable with the way they treated people that had TV studios that broadcast to the internet. I thought that was kind of a harsh categorization of everybody that does such a thing.
Well, especially when they were dogging on that studio, and I was like, he's got better equipment than we do.
It looks nice to me. He's got paid staff. So
would you eat Joe Exotic's pizza?
Hell no. No.
Yeah,
No.
I would try.
If I worked for Joe Exotic, I would not be. I'm gonna be honest. I probably wouldn't last very long working for Joe Exotic, but I don't think I would be taking anything off the meat truck and bringing it home to Sarah to cook.
My favorite is whenever the zookeeper, the head zookeeper, says, "I got this job. I saw the ad on Craigslist, and I thought I haven't done that before."
And then he goes into the barn with the gas cans and he's smoking the cigarette while he's pouring gas.
He says, "Don't try this at home, kids."
I think what I've learned from this whole situation is if you're going to have a zoo, don't hire convicted felons. Make it into a cult and have like 6 wives. That
Hey,
guy,
Doc got it right.
Doc seems to have it figured out. Of course, he got arrested by the end of it too, or got raided at least. So he's in there with the Muncie mayor, but
but he's back out.
The former Muncie mayor.
He's back out. He's back running things. He put a video up saying that Joe got set up and he got scammed. And
he got set up.
But here's the thing. Doc Antle is only saying that so that Joe doesn't rat on everything that Doc Antle's done.
So my question:
who's the other person? Who was the person that came in at the end that was working with Joe?
Jeff,
the one with all the money.
Yeah, it was Jeff, right?
That was Jeff Lowe. Yeah,
Jeff's the guy that stole the zoo.
Yeah,
Jeff definitely set him up, but I think Carol was in on it too.
No way. Carol hates Jeff. Do you think that
just for the cameras,
the enemy of my enemy?
My enemy is my friend. Yeah,
but here's the thing: Jeff is still running the Greater Wynwood Exotic Animal Park.
Yeah, but you got rid of Joe, the most eccentric, and bringing all the publicity there. So now Jeff's just kind of, we're just gonna hang out.
No one cares about Jeff.
Yeah, nobody cares.
I think Jeff is strange. Yeah,
all right.
Wouldn't surprise me if Jeff is an FBI agent and he's been deep undercover this whole time.
So now,
that's why he's got a hot Russian wife.
Let's talk about this real quick. What is the difference between the GW Zoo, Doc Antle's place, and Big Cat Rescue? They all keep the tigers in the damn cages.
It's the cubs. It's the breeding.
It's the breeding's the difference?
Yeah. So Joe is breeding cats in captivity that will never escape captivity. He's breeding
it happened in Ohio.
and then they got shot. So they had like 10 minutes of freedom. The Carol is taking the big cats and she's also putting them in cages and exploiting volunteers. At least Joe pays his people and gives them a place to live. She is using slave labor to feed cats that she steals from people who are breeding them like Joe. Or people who Joe sold his kittens to that they can't take care of them anymore, like Mike Tyson.
And she's got that PETA money.
Yeah.
All right. Let's just assume that anytime that Chase talks, the first sentence is always going to be wasted and scrambled. Eventually it works, but the first sentence every time Chase talks to us is just he's got the voice changer going because he works for the FBI. No, it's exactly what I said.
Now?
Yeah, that's fine.
There you go.
You literally need to go, this is my throwaway sentence, and now I'm going to begin speaking.
What I said is, plus she looks like Hillary Clinton.
But your face on her looks pretty good.
It does.
All right. Let's get into the stories of quarantine, Dakota. You put this in the show notes.
I only put it in there because you asked me to.
Yes, I want to know what you guys miss about the old life, the old world.
Okay, I'll go first because mine's pretty simple. I'm going to work and everything like normal.
All four of us.
And
although I'm trapped in this house,
I had a baby right now, so my life was going to be like this regardless for a little bit. So it was this didn't really shock my system, I should say. It would be nice to go out to eat. That's it, though, and get my hair cut. That's about it.
Yeah,
where are you getting your hair cut at now, by the way?
I'm not. I haven't gotten it cut since I've been down.
So that's exactly what I miss. I miss the barber. I miss the barber shop. In protest, I got into a little bit of a spat because our local county outlawed barbering before anybody else did last week. So I went ahead and said I'm not going to shave anymore. And then it came out that your mask isn't going to work if you don't shave, but whatever. So I have 2 weeks of growth, and it's just going to continue, and we're going to see what happens. I'm going to look like Dakota before this is over. But when it comes time, I'm going to have
I missed the highs
do my haircut.
of sports gambling. The last week of sports, I won $600. Felt like I was getting somewhere, fellas.
I
And
saw
it
Trump's
was-
trying to hold you down.
I saw on Twitter that there are people that were betting on the weather.
I've yet to find out where you can do that.
Right before they closed everything down, I bet like a $40 bet on darts to win $10, and I won. And then I was like, "All right, I have a problem," and I haven't done it since.
I miss the Elks Club. I miss the bars. I don't mind, and honestly, I miss seeing, I miss seeing people. Darn it. I'm social. This is okay. I'm glad we're able to do this, but I miss being able to do the
I'll be
podcast in
honest,
person.
I don't miss seeing anybody.
Same. I've been
I was
at my.
born for this job. Like if it wasn't for people dying, and people losing their jobs, I'd be like, that's pretty nice.
I have
So if we can
literally
get rid of that
seen.
part
I have seen my in-laws, my mom and dad, and Audrey, and Jackson for the past 2 weeks,
Yep.
and that's it. And it's been
been great.
great.
I'm the same. I see my in-laws. I see my adopted brother Mason and my adopted brother Christopher Guffey and Sarah, and that's it. That's who I see. We go camping on the weekends because the state says that's still allowed, and I work from this house, and I go to the Aldi, the Kroger, and the Walmart.
So that was one thing I wanted to say is did you guys stock up on anything? Have you gone and bought like a bunch of meat and stuff?
We talked about it in Patreon a little bit.
I personally did not, but the Potters did. So they have provided substantial food.
Poor
What's
Guffey and his bad
I'm
mind.
glad you're a freeloader.
What's the difference between all the kids going down on spring break and doing fun stuff, and all the old people going to the grocery store every day?
Nothing. The first couple Saturdays looked like Black Friday. Saturday morning, they reduced the hours, and it actually made it worse because you had people standing in line outside the store waiting on it to open up, and you would have hundreds of people standing in rope lines outside of a Walmart to go inside. That was not a good plan. Nobody was prepared for it. Probably not anybody's fault, but that was not good.
Have you guys ever used a bidet?
A bidet?
A bidet?
Boudet. You ever used a
boudet.
boudet?
What kind of fancy hotel do you stay in, Chase?
No, I haven't. I'm
motels.
interested.
I kind of want to try it. My first time, I'll be pretty scared, but excited at the same time.
Where did that come from?
Chase,
Because everyone,
the first Chase, the first time you use a bidet, do you want to do it by yourself or do you want to do it with a friend?
I kind of want someone to hold my hand, but I'm not going to order one from Amazon anymore because people keep peeing on packages.
My
So I'm going to
concern
have to use garbage.
My concern about a bidet is that it's going to have cold water. It's going to have cold tap water, and I don't want to live that life. And I don't want to have heat for my bidet water. But I'm not sure that I want 45-degree water coming at me.
They make them. They have a little, basically a water heater.
I know, but then you got to power it up. You got to plug it in. It's a whole thing.
You got outlets in your bathroom.
I'm kind of stuck that doesn't already have one.
You thought I would have one?
Yeah,
I would get one.
I
would be willing to try it. Listen, I have a
Dakota gets one. We're all going to his house to use his bidet. I'll hold Chase's hand.
A good friend of mine spent a lot of time in South Korea whenever he was in the Army National Guard, and apparently bidet is the norm there. That's what they use, And he said that whenever he came back stateside, he said that he had to have one installed because every time he used toilet paper, it felt like he just wasn't clean enough after that. After getting used to
That's why you use baby wipes.
Don't use baby wipes unless you're putting them in the trash can. That doesn't work
Yeah, you
either.
don't flush them. You don't flush
Are you
them.
putting
Yeah.
smeared poop wipes in your trash can?
Don't you put Jackson's?
No, I wrap them up in the diaper first. But yeah, I guess. Separate trash can too. Peels off.
The virus has made me hate a bunch of people.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if I have a list yet. I mean, I hate most of the people who get political, which are almost all my friends, because random people add me.
You have a list? You didn't have a list already?
Yeah, but I didn't know how bad it was. But now I think some of the people I hate the most are the ones that are getting paid to work from home and are complaining about it. Like, that is like my dream.
Jeremiah.
It sounds great until you're an extrovert that hasn't been in front of a customer in 3 weeks, and you're
That's like my job. Just making money on the webcam.
I'm outside sales, dude. I'm not inside sales. I don't like being stuck in here.
It's a real hard life
prisoner.
staying at home all day.
Yeah, drinking my third beer by noon.
No, it doesn't work that way, dude. You're really doing the work. You're sitting here.
What are they gonna do? Breathalyze you?
Yeah.
No.
I got it. I get up. I'm sitting in front of the computer at 8 a.m. I'm slaving away all day. It's the real deal. It's sad. It's a sad existence.
You always have that Yeti on you too. What's in
this
the Yeti?
This is the first time I have consumed alcohol in this room in the year 2020. Believe it or not. I was honestly secretly sad and depressed that I was going to do it in here because I've been in this room all day. So I seriously think that this is probably the last time you guys are going to see this background, because I'm going to drag this whole setup down to the studio and be at my regular desk next week. 80% chance.
So you're in your home office?
I'm in the home office.
Where are you at, Chase, in your house? Right before final thoughts. You want to give us a tour of your bedroom?
No. I'm going to give you a love shot.
Okay.
Yeah, some cool pictures. You got a bunch of Yankee stuff, and
see, that's all I wanted. It's more personal. What about you, Chris? Where are you at? In your car still?
Yeah, I'm in my own personal studio.
He's in the Toyota Studios.
The Toyota Tacoma Studios. Yeah, I didn't want to ruin the Potter's night, so they didn't have to be quiet. So
I bet you could do a custom background right now.
Oh, you could, but Jeremiah said we're trying to be professional. We don't want a fake background.
You have to have a solid background in order for it to work.
I don't want there to be fake glasses and mustaches and all that jazz going on. I don't want any of that fake shit. All right. As he's trying to ruin this, let's get into final thoughts, and we'll go. Now it looks terrible. He's in San Francisco, but now you've got mustard all over your shirt.
Oh yeah,
Chase, you teased in the Patreon that you had a big story for final thoughts, so we're going to start with you.
Okay, so it's a story of how my weekend went. So I was a little spontaneous this weekend, and my cousin came over Saturday. And I didn't have plans or anything. I was like, hey, man, you want to go camping down where I hunt at? I was like, the RV's already down there. And I was like, yeah, let's go. So we got down there, and we were trying to start a fire. And I realized that once we got there that we forgot to grab the gas for the fire. So we tried to use whiskey.
Yes.
And
great choice.
We didn't want to waste it all, and it wasn't working. So I was like, listen, the nearest gas station is like 20 minutes. And mind you, like, there's no road that connects where you can get to the RV. Like, you have to go through the field by the woods where we hunt. And on the way in, it was like super, super dry. And I was like,
what town are you guys going into Versailles or Madison? What town are y'all going into?
Carthage.
It's past Versailles. No, this isn't in Carthage. This is like 2 hours south. And there's the only people that live around our campsite hunting area are like Amish people and like one farmer. And our RV is like way back in the field. You drive back there. I've never had a problem, and it was like pretty dry. So I drive back there. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go out the other way. And the other way looks a little wet, but usually it's better to go in and out that way. I'm like, won't be a problem. I get stuck.
It was a problem.
We get stuck. It's a problem. My tires are really bald. So I'm like, well, crap. So my cousin, he's a pretty big guy. I'm a pretty big guy. I'm like, okay, I can push this out. Ain't happening. We're going back to the woods. We're getting sticks. We're getting logs. We're trying to shove them under the tires. Not helping. And then we got like an hour and a half to 2 hours before it gets dark out. Couldn't do it. We came close. My cousin had seen a video on Facebook where you get your ratchet strap and you strap a log to the tire, and that almost worked. But then the strap just got stuck in my brakes.
You know, if you would have had a Tacoma, crawl mode would have got you out.
Okay. So I don't use those Asian vehicles. They only
those Asians started this mess.
Yeah. So now it's dark out, and I'm like, well, we were planning on staying here the night anyways, and we're about to head back to the RV, and this Amish person walks up, and that's our neighbor. He's like, what do you guys got going on here?
What do you guys?
I was like, oh, we're stuck. And he was like, he might have been Mennonite. I think he was Mennonite because he had a flashlight. He was like, yeah, I can see that. And he was like, well, he had his son with him. He was like, can I help you boys out? And I was like, hey, man, I was like, I don't want to put you out. I have no cash on me. He was like, no, let me do this for you. I used to be scared to death of these people. Completely.
These people.
Well, they're different than us, Dakota. Nicest people ever. So he goes and he gets his horse.
Chase is just afraid of them because he can never get their phone number from them.
Very true. He
we don't
grabs
have a
his
phone.
horse
What's that mean?
all the way over, and the horse doesn't want to cooperate. It just keeps taking one step and stopping. And he was like, well, I can go get my other horse. I was like, no, man. I was like, my dad will be here in the morning. Don't worry about it. And he eventually left. And there was a split. There was like a good 20 minutes to where it was just his son and my cousin because he had to go back to the house and get a chain or something. And the son's telling us all kinds of
I assume
stories.
to whip the horse with.
Yes. The son's telling us all kinds of stories about, their family. They got really sad at one point, and he was like, yeah, we used to have a Madeline, but then she died, and now we have a new Madeline. I just got really sad for a second. I was like, oh, that sucks. So that's how the night went. We eventually just gave up and had a good time the rest of the night.
Did the Amish ever show you how to make a fire?
I was going to say, you have to have gasoline to start a fire, Chase?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
In his defense, I was camping last weekend too, and there was about 3 inches of rain that came down, so everything was wet. Nothing was great.
Oh yeah,
that's right. There were lights in the camera, so we didn't really need to fire. It was just for a pleasure. But we had a good time. We woke up the next morning. My dad and my cousin showed up. My other cousin, he had his truck, and
was his name Daryl too?
Yes. And it was actually David. So my dad was like, I don't know.
It was Larry, Daryl, and Daryl.
It might get stuck. And I was like, no, the left side's super dry. So we chain it up. He gets going. It gets stuck in like 5 minutes. So now we have 2 trucks stuck. And we had to push my dad out. That took like 2 hours. I had to like walk a mile to collect some rocks. So I got like my stomach showing because I got like 1,000 rocks in my shirt. Shoved those under there. And then eventually a farmer came and saw us, and he pulled us out with his tractor. It was a great time.
So the whole neighborhood really does appreciate you guys and the fact you're farming down there.
Yeah. But apparently Amish Mennonite people, super nice. They helped me with my deer. They tried to get me unstuck. Can't say enough about them. They won't ever see this, but thank you.
We'll mail the transcript down there. So to Ripley County. So you're saying they helped you with your deer too? I never heard that story. They helped you catch your deer that you had killed, or they finished killing it for you? What happened?
Oh, so where I hunted at, my tree stand was like, I don't know, 40, 50 yards on our property. And when I had shot the deer, it crossed over onto their property, and we went to look for it. A couple hours later, we went up to the house and everything, and they had already had it, and they helped us load it.
There you go.
So, super nice people.
All right. So, thank you for your
whatsoever.
Do you want to start your final thoughts now, Chase? And
I got to pet the horse. So
it's a petting animal. It wasn't really all that great for for doing the lugging.
I felt so bad because you could tell he felt bad about it, and he was like, "Normally he does better than this. He always drags our hay around." I was like, "It's all right, man. I appreciate it."
All right, Guffey. Final thoughts?
I'm going to skip to you because I have to go into my messenger because Betsy Mills wanted me to mention something, and I forget what exactly it was. So I'm going to skip over, but it's probably going to make my screen black. So.
All right, you're going to disappear here. Well, Dakota's disappeared as well. Chase, it's the you and me show now, buddy. Final thoughts for me. I'm really glad to be back on the air, at least in some form and fashion. Really ready for this to be over. I don't know, man. You just roll with the punches. That's all I have to say for everybody else is just roll with the punches and carry on and do what you can to support people where you can. It's crazy times. We're way beyond anything that I ever dreamed would be happening, and here we are.
Yeah,
I have my tickets. The Indy 500 is going to be run in August now, buddy. So
yeah, I know.
I have tickets to 3 IndyCar races, and last week they rescheduled all 3 of them. The Grand Prix moved from early May to July. My race in August for the Mid-Ohio race actually moved up a week to make room for the Indy 500. So who knows? And the Garth Brooks concert moved. And I had Joe Diffie tickets for July, and then that kind of fell apart too. So
wait, Garth is alive?
What's that?
You said Garth is still alive?
Garth is, for now, still alive. He was on the Columbia Broadcasting Service last night, CBS. He and Trisha Yearwood. Guffey, final thoughts?
Yeah. So in our private chat for the episode, I put a link to a resource guide for COVID-19 that Betsy Mills wants me to share. Jeremiah, since you're on the computer, is there any way you can put that into this chat and then share it to Boss Hog for us? She said she spent like 20 hours in the health department just putting this together and just kind of making just like a resource list for us. I know Betsy and I know all of the local officials are working as hard as they can on this, and I do appreciate it. I know they don't hear it as often that we are appreciative of the work that they do, and this is something that nobody could have predicted. So just stay safe, don't do anything crazy, and if you get sick, stay your ass home.
Yeah, I'll say the government's trying to lead, and unfortunately, when government tries to lead, it becomes by force. And a lot of the stuff that people are doing should be, I think government has a platform to speak, but we probably shouldn't be doing it at the end of a gun. Social distancing is exactly what you should be doing right now. I think we're all trying to abide by it. It's not easy, but we're making it work. So Dakota has disappeared. Don't know where he's gone, what happened, but I'm sure he has final thoughts that he'd say thank you very much for being here. And I guess we're going to do this again Thursday night next week. Y'all don't have an excuse for not being here, right?
I can think of one.
Dakota sent me his final thoughts. It says Chase and Chris Guffey are the best co-hosts ever, and Jeremiah sucks balls.
That's pretty much what I expected. All right. Well, I'm going to stop the recording.